Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am Trenia Wearing, the CEO and founder of New Girl Entertainment. And New Girl Entertainment is a film, video, and multimedia production business. I actually started doing business back in 1990. I was operating as a sole proprietorship, and my company was called Causing a Scene Filmworks. And so fast forward to now, I've incorporated, and pretty much I still operate my production company, and everything that I do under the production wing is Causing a Scene Filmworks. Okay, so I have a question for you in terms of how I got into this. So now, are you guys tired of seeing movies and television programs about nothing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a whole new concept with this mindless entertainment. It's so annoying after a while, and you sit up and you realize how much time you waste just watching TV. And sometimes I find myself going back watching old vintage television programs because sometimes the new stuff is, there's nothing there. There's no setup. There's nothing funny about the so-called concepts of the show. And so even with that, at the same time, keeping that in mind, my company is called New Girl Entertainment. And a lot of times most of the programs are done from a male point of view or a young male's point of view. And a lot of times you don't really have any stories about girls and rites of passage or anything about girls' stories from girls' points of view or anything. And so that's pretty much the concept behind, you know, moving forward with naming the company and wanting to make movies. Okay, the mission statement for my company, New Girl is an urban, faith-based, independent motion picture, television, and multimedia production company. We seek to acquire, develop, and produce features, long-form digital media products and programs. Our stories feature urban women of faith globally coming together and taking on diverse roles within the workplace and society, diverse roles of achievement, exploring different perspectives, and breaking new ground. And the reason that is important to me is because a lot of times you get used to seeing stories or the same thing, where it's easier when you're writing a character, everybody wants to revert back to the stereotype. So the thing is, if I tell you, you know, we have a scene that's somewhere in New York City and you're somewhere by a low-income neighborhood and you see two people standing out here and they tell you one person's a hoe and the other one's a pimp, a lot of times people they revert to stereotypical, you know, imagery in terms of who they assume those people to be and what those characters should look like. So our stories are designed to touch hearts and feed souls and remind us that hope is real, because a lot of times you can see stories where there's really no substance. I mean, there's like, you have characters that are going out there, they're breaking the law, and then at the end, they get away with the money. And in reality, you know that doesn't happen, because they will go on a manhunt and find you depending on what you took, what you did, and how recent the incident happened. Okay, and then the other thing is, my tagline is, we're committed to entertain and make films that people want to see and talk about. And the other thing that's important to me is always remembering your tithing. So doing your 10% of your proceeds and donations and stuff to charities and different organizations that I support and believe in. Okay, the company itself pretty much is committed to bringing a variety of compelling stories to mainstream audiences. So the concept of what I'm doing is we work with independents, and so basically what that means is I write the scripts, or either I acquire the products and then I bring in the crew and the team and we go out and we shoot. And so what happens after that, if we can get distribution, then we hopefully can enter a pipeline someplace. If we don't get the distribution, then I will go directly to video or DVD and then market online and do those types of things myself, or bring in an actual established distributor. Okay, so the operations of New Girl, pretty much, it's a privately owned corporation. My film, television, and home entertainment division, pretty much our projection is to do 1 to 3 projects annually. Another division of the company is publishing and multimedia, which is where we'll be doing book publishing and information marketing products. Another division of the company is education and games and special project development, and that's where consulting and other like products and stuff, where you have like video albums or video photo books and family tree books and different things like that. I used to do those back when I was in college, so I'm thinking about maybe reinventing and going back to that. And then also our charitable outreach angle, because I would like to partner with some nonprofits, and my ideas behind that is pretty much being able to take urban youth from areas around here and take them international. We go into third world countries and have them work with people in the community and youth in the communities of those countries around their same age, thinking that maybe that will jar them to be a little bit more appreciative and have a little bit more focus in terms of what they're doing. Because you have so much, regardless of whatever's happening, you have people that are literally killing themselves trying to get here, to immigrate, and here it is, we're here, and they take so much for granted. Okay, so just focusing on the film, television, and entertainment division, under the features wing is like original works, acquired works. Original works are pretty much works that I'm writing myself and working on, or working with a partner and we're developing. Acquired works are, like, say, for example, if you wrote a book and I liked the book that you wrote and I wanted to option that book from you, and then we do a story about it, then basically, after we negotiate whatever your fee is, then you would sign a contract with me to option your book. That way I can go and do an actual theatrical development of it. And within that time frame, if I'm able to get the script done and go and raise the money and make the movie, then you will still get a residual payment out of it. If I can't pull it together within that year, then I'll come back to you to see if I can renew the option.
Okay, because I wrote the book.
Okay. So you have adaptations and also animation. Under the television wing, we have original works, which are pretty much movies written directly for television. Also miniseries, which are pretty much, I have some historical concepts and stuff for some stories I'd like to see made into some miniseries. And then you have the movies of the week, which I'm sure most of us kind of went to school at the same time. So they used to have the after-school specials. And so I want to try to produce some things to kind of go back into that market a little bit as well. And then, like I said earlier, you have the straight to video, which is where if you didn't acquire any distribution, then you would pretty much either market it yourself or get a distributor, and then you just put it straight out there in venues where, like Walmart or Costco or Sam's or some of the bigger like wholesale places, or Netflix, where you would actually be able to rent it or purchase it. Then also you have adaptations and plays as well that can be made for straight to video market. My niche is urban Christian niche. It's an emerging industry niche where urban Christian and faith-based audiences are targeted by the film industry, with films containing Christian themes, messages, and relevant stories that people actually want to see. Because right now, I had a video that I was going to show, and I knew I was going to go over 5 minutes, so I took it out. But mainly it was just showing you like a lot of the stuff that the kids are blasted with and bombarded. You have all these pictures, you have sex and all these things where there's no values or anything, there's no morals, there's no nothing. And so right now the problem is you have young girls that are out there that actually think taking on the whole mentality is her rite of passage from going from being a young girl to being a woman. And so the thing is, at least being able, if we're going to use those paradigms in story format, at least being able to have other characters where you got your true big mamas and folks that can actually talk and impart wisdom on these people without being preachy, but doing it in an entertaining way. And so that's pretty much my concept behind what the urban Christian niche is about. The marketplace for me, okay, let me refer to my notes real quick. Okay, so the marketplace, because Sonia and I had talked about this, because right now I was trying not to get you guys too Hollywoodish, because I know a lot of times people start looking at big numbers and like, ooh, you can make that kind of money, and it's like, well, you have the potential of making that kind of money. Right. And so the thing is, last year you had 657 films that were produced by Hollywood. And when I'm saying produced by Hollywood, you have other independents, and you also have many major studios that are also making movies. And so of those pictures, 132 of them actually had Christian themes. And so usually your family-oriented genre, that's usually where they shove the Christian movies, but it's done with a commercial flair. And so a lot of times you don't hear them say things like God or, you know, Jesus or something like that, where you're making it specific for a Christian audience, but a lot of times those stories are actually Christian stories if you look at it and you go back and compare it and think about it. So they're giving it to you in a subtle way without shoving it down your throat. Let's see. So my question for you guys is, do you know what movie got Hollywood's attention? What Christian movie actually got Hollywood's attention that they've actually taken the time to look at Christian? Very good. Very good. That movie was actually made by Mel Gibson back in 2004. And it was actually done, if you think about it, as an independent. An independent from Hollywood standards is anything that's under $50 million. The movie was done for $45 million. And so for those of us who are independents, I will take a $45 million, you know what I'm saying, independent studio budget any day, any time. I will take that because I know how to work that and still have money left over to make 2 more films. But the thing is, they did that, and so after that movie came out, pretty much, like you said, Passion of Christ, the movie, can you guys guess how much it grossed? That it actually, okay.
500 million?
Not quite. 370. It was made for 45, and it grossed 370 million worldwide. And it will be appearing on Sunday, which is, what is it, Palm Sunday that's coming up? Palm Sunday. They'll be showing it all day back to back. And so once that movie came out, Hollywood realized that there was money to be made with this niche that was going unserved. And the fact that in Hollywood's mentality, a $45 million picture is still a low budget movie. So then they all started creating a Christian or faith-based wing within their different studios to pretty much be able to kind of interface with those of us that are coming forward with projects that we want to, you know, pitch them on. But the thing when you're going through the studios is they still want to know that it has a mainstream appeal. And so that's still the kick with them. So it's not where you're actually making the movie you actually really want to make, but you're making the movie that's going to make money for them at a low cost with a higher return on investment. Okay, just to give you guys some ideas about the Christian market. Christian movies, you had in 2010, you had Letters to God. The movie was made for $3 million. It grossed about 2.84. So it technically didn't make its budget back, but it still didn't do too bad. Fireproof was made for $500,000, and it made $33 million. Facing Giants was made for $100,000. It made $10 million. God's Army was made for $300,000. It made $2.6 million. And Time Changer was made for $855, and it made $1.5. I want you guys to key in on Fireproof, because Fireproof was actually made by a church in Atlanta, or I'm sorry, in Albany, Georgia. And basically what they did, they actually, the first movie that particular church did, they raised $20,000 from their parishioners, and they made the movie, and the movie ended up making about $75,000 to $79,000. And so once they realized that there was money to be made, and they can get free labor by using their people in church to have to work on the crews and make movies, then they went back. So Fireproof is actually the third production that this church actually made. And the reason this one is really special is because Kirk Cameron appeared in that. And right now he's a real big guru with TDN and some of the other entities. And so once he signed on to it or whatever, they were able to market his star power, if you will. That was the thing that actually set it over the edge. And 33 million, I mean, you can't even argue with that. I mean, you can't argue with that, because when the movie came out, it was actually doing as well as, if you want to call them secular films or just regular Hollywood movies, was able to compete for a time. And then the difference between that and the urban Christian movie market, the urban Christian movie market is pretty much, obviously, those are the films that are targeted specifically to people of color that are Christians and of the Christian faith. And so you have like Not Easily Broken, that was a T.D. Jakes production that came out in 2009. It was made for $5 million. At box office, domestically only at 10.7. But the thing is, they didn't take the movie international. The distribution company that they worked with only did domestic, because at the time they still weren't thinking that there was a market overseas for movies featuring us, unless it's about, you know, shoot 'em up, whatever. Okay, The Family That Prays Together was a Tyler Perry picture. Akilah and the Bee, which was the one was I was asking you guys about in the survey. Then you had Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I don't know why that's there, but anyway. Then Woman Thou Art Loose, which is another T.D. Jakes picture. So right now in the urban Christian movie market, pretty much T.D. Jakes and Tyler Perry right now is the king, if you will, in the market. And so again, of all these movies up here, everything is considered an independent production except for Akilah and the Bee. This was actually made by a studio. Okay? And so you see that for the budget range and stuff between the regular Christian market here, so your range for producing a film can range anywhere from $100,000 to $10 million for a budget to make a project. And so I know even while we were in the class, I was struggling a lot of times listening to some of the examples that were being given, because most of your businesses is like a service.
Uh-oh. Oh, you guys, you know what?
Trying to give us.
Okay, we're gonna have to, no, we'll be okay, but we're gonna have to, because it's the bank building and it's on a timer. The only parts of the building go dark. That's a warning.
Oh.
The alarm gonna go off.
I don't wanna be, I don't know if God likes this.
I would as a sign.
No, I'm kidding. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, my type of business, if you're looking at the business structure of it, is more on the lines of a manufacturing business. Because the thing is, I have to raise the money to go get the parts and the components to get the people to make the product that I still need to raise money for to sell. And so that's the line of my business. Okay, so the competition, pretty much, I keyed in on these three companies. You have Cloud 10, which is out of Canada, 5 and 2 Pictures, which is out of Burbank, and then you have Sherwood Pictures. Sherwood Pictures is the one that actually produced the movie Fireproof. So I have them on here too because they're still making more movies, and the model that they're using, I mean, you have a church, you have a few thousand people in the church, so you have free labor, and then you have people that are coming in and they want to donate their time and services because this is your passion and you want to help and you donate that time to the church, so they're able to benefit from that. But the thing is, all of these companies pretty much have started out as independent production companies. Okay, so the thing about 5 and 2 right now, they've discovered that there's more money to be made in online DVD sales. So right now they've kind of repackaged themselves, as well as Cloud 10. They're all repackaging themselves to distribute Christian movies. So basically, if I'm needing to use them, okay,
What's the noise?
I think it's the
No, it's a
water.
vacuum cleaner.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm gonna rush through these. Okay, so my target customer for my film projects is distribution and exhibition entities, many major production companies, television and cable networks, alternative markets, which is the internet, digital download, social media, mobile, video on demand, and then you have straight to video or video on demand. And then for the actual film itself, I have to go back and do a market workup for each project separately because there's a different audience for each film depending on what's being produced. And so you guys remember all these because we have got questions and stuff for us. I'm not going to go through that. Okay, so the MPA rating, did it not come out? Oh, okay, well I had a slide there that's not appearing, so I'll keep going. Reaching the audience pretty much is by doing tie-in to social media, targeting the demographic through their leisure activities, outreaching with the Christian community, using traditional and a combination of traditional and grassroots promotion campaigns is how we choose to get the word out. So my first project that we're actually going to be doing an actual feature is called The Hunt. It's going to be based in Oakland. It's a 128-minute film, and we're currently we're currently scouting locations, and then we're seeking a distributor and a production partner. Okay, this is my management team, and I am a Corporation S. For my financials, I really didn't put that because I'm still working on that, because the thing is, for the startup, for the business is one thing, but then I got to go back and do an individual film plan for each project, which will have a different set of costs. And so pretty much most of them will all include research and development, production, and contingency with the budgets, and then, you know, laying out like what each department will be making in terms of what I'm needing, like, you know, hair and makeup, props, permits, insurance, all those different types of things. Okay, any questions?
You looking for, are you
Yeah,
looking for people in your movie because I was an extra in the Warner Bros. Movie Contagious.
Girl, you have her paid. One question, that's it. No questions? Okay, thank you, honey. So listen,